At the end of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, he gives a warning about those who enjoy the sermon, they listen to it, but they don't practice it. Listen to what he says in Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain fell down, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had its foundation on a rock. You know, when you ask a lot of Christians, what's the foundation? What's the rock that we build our lives on? People will say Jesus. No, and it's not even Jesus' teachings. You know what he says? It's doing what he taught. Go through the Sermon on the Mount. If you don't practice it, you're going to be in real big trouble. If you refuse to be light and salt in the world, you're not practicing the teaching. If you have lust in your heart toward others, you're not practicing his teaching. If you're trying to show your piety and your holiness before men by doing works so people can see you, you're not following the teachings of Christ. If you hate your brother or your sister, you're not following the teachings of Christ. If you don't forgive and you hold resentment, you're not following the teachings of Christ. Go through the Sermon on the Mount. Begin to practice it, because only when you practice do you build your house on a rock that doesn't fold up. And here's what Jesus is also teaching. All of us are going to face trials. This is what he's saying. The storms are going to come. Floods are going to rise. Right now I'm here in Louisiana, and floods is a very important part of their life, and they need to be protected from it. And Jesus is saying, you're going to face trials in life. You're going to face trials in your marriage, in your finances, in your career, among your family, friends, your church. You're going to face trials. It happens to all of us. But Jesus gives a promise that if you will practice his teachings, do what he tells you to do, then in the end, you're not going to fold up. You're not going to cave. He says in verse 22, on that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many deeds of power? Then I will declare, I never knew you. Go away from me, you evildoers. What is he saying? You didn't practice it. What good is it to practice some of his teachings and then fail at others? I urge you, my brothers and sisters, listen, make sure you follow the teachings of Christ, because when the storms come, you're going to stand.